guys, we are gonna get started. Ooh, somebody started shushing for me. That was super exciting. If you have not grabbed your last beer, please do so pretty quietly. Welcome to Atlanta Startup Village number 55. Okay, you can do better than that. More clapping. That's what I like to hear. We are the largest monthly entrepreneur meetup in the Southeast. And I did say meetup because you actually can find us on meetup.com. That's where everything runs. You can see the upcoming presenters, and you can see information about our upcoming shows. Follow us online at #ATLSV, hopefully up here. Twitter at ATLSV, and Instagram at ATL Startup Village, because ATLSV was already taken. All right, just a little bit of housekeeping first. I am Allie Merritt. I am your MC for tonight. I like this. All right, this is my new favorite crowd. So, couple of quick things. The way it works is we've got 5 companies. They have 5 minutes to pitch. They do 5 minutes of Q&A. They will repeat the question, so if they forget, we will remind them. Because we are also live streaming this, and that means that everybody at home can also hear them as long as they're speaking into the mic. And it will be recorded, so if somebody missed it tonight or you want to go back and watch somebody cool, we will post that and you can follow up later on. Okay, who here has a beer? Let's get excited about oh, that was really lackluster for beer. Okay. We're going to try better for the beer, because we have 2 beer sponsors who get to say something pretty to y'all. So, first up, Mobile Labs. Come on down. Beer sponsors.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, quick question, another question, hands up. How many of you guys have downloaded an app onto your mobile phone or tablet or gone to a website and it sucked and it stunk and you quickly deleted it? Okay, almost everybody, good. Mobile Labs, what we do is we provide software to organizations, mainly large organizations, to be able to test those apps before they put them up to the cloud for you guys to download them. So we have the ability to have developers literally debug on real devices, and we have QA and tester groups be able to test their functionality and UI testing on real devices before they send them up to the cloud. We offer both an on-premise, which is really unique in this world. We're one of 2 companies that offer an on-premise solution. So we have a lot of customers that actually have literally thousands of devices that they're shipping offshore, and they're shipping all around the country. And they have no idea if the application was tested on the right OS, the right version of app, and how many times it was tested, or what truly was the test. So we have an on-premise cart. And think about it, my guys hate me to say this, but think about it like a cart that goes down the aisle of an airplane, holds 48 devices. We have a number of customers that have multiple carts, and you can literally log into that cart from anywhere in the world and upload your application on whatever devices are in that cart and do whatever testing or debugging you need to do in real time. So it's extremely cool and it's extremely secure. So we're able to consolidate the devices into a single platform, be able to test and debug in a very secure environment. So that's one of our solutions. The other solution is we have actually here in Atlanta a secure data center where we also offer hosted testing. So we supply the devices, you upload your app on whatever device that you want that's in our hosted environment, you do your testing or debugging, and once you're all set, you load it up to the cloud, and we all get to download a very secure, very reliable application, whether it's on our smartphone, whether it's on our tablet, or whether it's on the website we're going to go to try and do whatever we want to do. So that's a little bit about Mobile Labs. We actually used to be in this building for 3 years. I think we moved out about 3 weeks ago. We graduated. But we're right down the street. So our headquarters is here, but we are worldwide. We have customers all over the world. Thank you.
We actually have a second beer sponsor tonight, so let's give a round of applause for Mercer.
Well, hello. Who's heard of Mercer University before? Everyone's hand should go up. Well, we are excited at Mercer University. We have a space for startups and entrepreneurs called the Mercer Innovation Center, and we are in search of our next class of startups. We are offering an amazing incentive, up to $20,000 in cash, an office space for free for 12 months, student interns for free for 12 months, and full access to Mercer University's facilities. How can you beat that? Right? We like companies in their infancy from idea to launch, and we don't have a specific niche, all right? And so please feel free to apply. We have fellowship flyers there. It's called our Mercer Innovation Center Fellowship, so please apply. Our deadline is April 20th, and then we'll go through that round of applications. So if you have any questions, my name is Stephanie Howard. I'm in the corner. Who wants a non-alcoholic beverage tonight as well? Exactly. One of our current fellows, Ultimental, is here, and they have a green tea supplement. It's all natural for you to sample, and they are currently going through our fellowship program, and so they'd be a great company for you to speak to learn more about what that center is like. For those of you that have your phones, please go to mic.mercer.edu and learn more about our facility and what we have to offer. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing your pitches.
All right, one more real quick bit of housekeeping. You heard me talk about the live stream. That is actually also sponsored and donated by PullSpark. Everybody turn around and wave and say, hey, PullSpark. Hey, PullSpark. Thank you for doing this every single month, every single time, so that all of the ridiculous things that you do later that you're like, oh, nobody saw that. They did, and it's on the recording, and you can watch it later. All right, so tonight we're doing things a little bit different for our very first presenter, because instead of an actual startup, we have Techstars, who is looking for startups. So take it away, Techstars. Woo! Oh, come on. Applause, applause.
That was supposed to be a cue. Hey, everybody. How many founders are here tonight? Awesome. We're talking to you guys and gals. Thank you. Techstars, what is Techstars? Techstars is a worldwide network that aims to help entrepreneurs succeed.
Excellent. And we do that through multiple different facets, but the one we're here to speak about tonight is our accelerator programs. And we have about 39 programs across the world, one of which is here in our backyard in Atlanta. And we are in partnership with Cox Enterprises, who traditionally has business units in media, automotive, and communications. We are industry agnostic, though, so we can recruit any type of company here in Atlanta.
So our program runs one time per year, starting in July, and runs for about 90 days. We will have, if last year is any indication, about 1,200 or so applications for 10 spots. And so right now, this month, last month, next month, the first quarter here, we are traveling all throughout the Southeast and different parts of the world to meet founders, to hear their stories, to learn about their businesses, and try to make some connections so that when applications come in, we're able to connect the applications with the folks that we've met. So Techstars, again, is an accelerator program. Some of you may be familiar with the concept of an accelerator program. Very different than an incubator. It's different than a co-working space, right? You all know what co-working space is. Incubation space is generally some subsidized space and some assistance. An accelerator program has a discrete beginning and end, and generally runs for about 90 days. Our program, as Rachel said, doesn't have a particular technology or vertical focus. So if we look at some of our past classes, we have companies ranging from travel businesses to farming businesses to manufacturing companies. We're really interested in great founders. Why don't we talk a little bit about our criteria and kind of what we look for in startups?
Yep, so we have 6 main criteria. If you look on the Techstars website, it's not a typo. The first 3 are literally team, team, and team, because we place a really large importance on the founding team. They should be authentic as to why they're pursuing the product or company that they're building. They should be credible, so they should have some sort of background experience that lends itself to going after the idea. And most importantly, they should be coachable. So because Techstars is a mentorship-driven accelerator, we rely a lot on our founders to be coachable and to listen to the massive amount of feedback that's going to be given to them during the 90 days. We also look for the idea. So it's a little misleading. It shouldn't be an idea. It should be an MVP that's been launched out into the market. Traction for us does not mean a dollar sign necessarily, although that's always welcome. But it can be eyeballs, unpaid pilots, beta users, those type of things. We also look for progress, most importantly, and the speed at which you can execute against the goals that you tell not only to your customers, but also to us as you go through the accelerator program.
We like to think that the stats for Techstars speak for themselves, so I'm not going to bore you by reading all of these awesome stats on the slide here. Here's a quick snapshot of just some of the companies that have gone through our programs. So as Rachel mentioned earlier, there are 39 Techstars programs around the world. To date, I believe we've graduated roughly 1,300 companies over the last decade. Here's just a few of the names. You should see at least one right there in the middle, Allie, that you recognize. SalesLoft went through Techstars Boulder back in 2012, and look where they are today. The companies over on the right side of the slide have gone through the Techstars program right here in Atlanta. So I'm sure everybody now is seeing the 2U trucks driving around Atlanta. It's awesome to see that. Landing Line, Secure, Farm Crowding. We've had a total of 20 companies that have gone through our first 2 cohorts.
And to wrap it up before Q&A, you guys, the really, really important stuff. So our applications are open through April 8th this year. Before that, we are traveling all around and taking a really close look at our backyard here in Atlanta and doing office hours. So if it's something that is of interest to you to talk one-on-one with us, to kind of bounce out ideas around and also get feedback, go ahead and request that at the link up here. You can take a picture of this if you'd like. We are going to do an AMA or an Ask Me Anything on March 19th. We'll have David Brown, who's one of the co-CEOs of Techstars, here with us, as well as some Techstars Atlanta alumni to answer more questions about what it looks like to go through program. Once again, applications due April 8th, and if you're an Ops Ninja, we are hiring a lead associate to come join our team this year, so definitely apply.
3, 2, 1. Awesome. So, any questions about our program? What was that? The price of admission. That's a great question. So the question is, if I repeat the question, what is the price of admission? Techstars invests up to $120,000 into each startup. That investment comes in 2 parts. The first part is a $100,000 convertible note that you have the option to accept or not. That convertible note will come with standard flat terms of a 20% discount, and we'll set the cap on the note anywhere between $3 and $5 million based upon a qualified financing event that you've had in the last 6 months. So in other words, if you've raised no money, we'll offer you a $100,000 note with a $3 million cap. If you've raised a bunch of money at a $7 million valuation, we'll offer you that same $100,000 note at a $5 million ceiling. That's the first part of the investment. The second part is really the program itself and the value that hopefully we described in the 5 minutes we had here. We offer this 90-day program. We offer mentorship. There are about 12,000 people in the Techstars network globally. That includes founders from over 1,300 companies. That includes mentors, not just from Atlanta, but mentors from across the network. You have access to everybody. There's about $1 million in perks that are available to anyone who gets accepted. That's generally cloud credits. You get a $100,000 credit with Google, a $100,000 credit with Amazon, a $360,000 credit with Microsoft. There's office space. We have some bad office space. It's rad. We're down at Pond City Market. We're on the top floor. You don't just get the office for the 90 days of the program, but Cox is super generous, our corporate sponsor, and they allow our companies to stay in that space for a full 12 months. And then finally, there's a $20,000 cost of living stipend, is how we like to think about that, so that any companies that might be traveling or startups, it should afford your rent and ramen noodles for the 90 days. All of that value of the program, the network, the perks, the cash, comes in exchange for 6% common stock in the business. Let's pause there. Common stock in the business. So we believe that once we invest in your company, we feel a responsibility like a co-founder. and we're going to go to work for you the way that a co-founder would go to work, which is why we're requesting common stock in your business, not any preferential treatment. And that's it, and that's the price. We got 2 minutes left. Any other questions about our program? How do we choose our companies?
We'll talk a little bit about the timeline then as well. So, of course, in addition to the criteria that we talked about during our original 5 minutes, we really take the time to get to know the founding team. So now and through April 8th, our application close, we will be meeting with companies all across the Southeast. We did an office hours out of ATV today. And then through those interactions, once we get into the application period that closes, we'll go through about mid-May, doing interviews in the same manner, really deep diving with those companies and narrowing the pipeline down from over 1,000 applications to the final 10 that we'll accept into the program.
Another question here, Billy. Oh, that's a great question, Billy. The question was, Allie, how much money have Atlanta companies raised to date? I don't have a number off the top of my head, but let's quickly think about this last year. Farm Crowdy raised $1 million. 2U Laundry raised $2.5 million. Landing Lion raised about $500,000. Mo Quality is raising money right now. Collider raised $1 million. Vlipsy raised $1.5 million. So we had some really good success coming out of last year's class. About half the class is funded. We have a handful of companies that are currently raising right now. On average, Techstars companies go on after the program, on average across all the programs, 1,300 companies, to raise about $3 million on average after the program. Yeah, thank you. So the last thing that Billy said was one thing that's really cool is our pitch event. So Techstars culminates with Demo Day. You guys should pull out your calendars right now and mark the date, save the date for Monday, October 15th. Monday, October 15th, we'll have our third Demo Day down at the Tabernacle. It's a free event. It's open to the public. We'll start tweeting out links. We'll start tweeting out links to RSVP probably sometime in September, so you have a little time. And that also, of course, Demo Day happens the night before Venture Atlanta. Thank you, and don't forget to apply.
Always got to get that last little bit in there, Michael. All right, so one of the awesome things that we also do here is all these fantastic chairs lined up so beautifully in rows that y'all are sitting in are lined up by our volunteers. And in return for volunteering to set up and take down the chairs, they get 30 seconds in between the pitches. So first, we are going to hear from Lockbox Local. Come on up, Robert.
Hey, who has an iPhone with an app like OfferUp or use social media or Craigslist to buy and sell things? Do you worry about getting scammed or meeting the next Craigslist killer? You need the Lockbox Local app. You should download it now, right now. I'm Robert Kelly. Our app helps make the exchange safer by letting you take a deposit before you meet. Our users are registered, so it's less likely something bad will happen. If the sale doesn't go through, the money automatically bounces back to the buyer. Happy sellers, happy buyers. Thank you.
I like it, concise. High Point, where are you? There you are.
Hello everyone. Hi, this is Bush and he's Prashant. So 2 years ago, we started our venture in financial services, and we have since then helped hundreds of startups and entrepreneurs secure their business interests, secure their partnerships, and secure their key employees. So if you have a startup or planning to have a startup, do come talk to us. We'll be standing behind. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So our second presenter of the night is Patientory. Give her a round, guys.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm Krista McFarland. I'm the founder and CEO of Patientory. Some of you in the community may have seen Patientory. We were one of the first. We were the first healthcare token sale last summer, which launched with a $7.2 million token sale in less than three days. I was inspired to start Patientory after coming across a previous client whose son suffered from a rare disease. Unfortunately, had spent over 6 months trying to get access to his son's medical information in order to get treatment, which was a bummer. So, Patient Tori, our moonshot goal is to make health information accessible to patients and providers globally by giving them a secure platform to manage and transfer their health data, of course, for improved health, well-being and health. So we're solving the problem of siloed data infrastructure, as we know today, are locked up in electronic medical records. We might know of the Epics and the Cerners, and of course, vulnerable health information subject to security breaches. Through the world's first blockchain-powered patient mobile wallet that integrates into any electronic medical record keeping system. For tonight's demo, time permits, I'll be showcasing medical data that's currently stored on an Epic EMR node instance. So as we see, a significant unmet need to easily access siloed health information remains, and our approach is different as to other PHR, if you know that term in the healthcare industry, personal health record system, because we use blockchain, the premier cryptographic method of data security and transfer, alongside the ease of accessibility to this data via a mobile device. So for just a simplified architectural overview, our blockchain sits on top of current legacy database systems that store health information. And our app, of course, is the client-patient interface, which aggregates and feeds the patient or doctor this medical information. We're also the first application to be able to integrate with an EMR without HL7 or FHIR standards, which allows for health data to travel globally from country to country. Of course, without being limited to federal or state constraints because it's owned by the patient. So let's say you travel to Chennai, India, and you get sick and you're hospitalized. You'll be able to essentially, access this application. So as a disclaimer, you guys are the first public group to view our patient wallet. So the wallet is similar for you, crypto and blockchain enthusiasts to setting up a crypto wallet such as my Ether wallet or MetaMask. However, instead of storing money, you're storing health data, which some people think it's more valuable than your actual money. All right, so let's see if I can cast this. So I already went through the problem of downloading the app and putting in my phone number, and I verified my wallet. So this transaction has actually already taken place on the blockchain. And then I get a mnemonic phrase, which is 12 words, so similar to a MyEther wallet. You would need this to restore your wallet if you ever lost your phone. And you needed to re-download that, the Patient Tori app to your phone. So I'm gonna write down the 12 words. I have 40 seconds left. And then I go to keep their data safe. Do I have a volunteer to give me your phone number? What? Uh-huh. 20. Okay. What's the verification? What's the verification code? Okay, we're identified, and I'm gonna write down these words. And then I'm gonna type in those words.
Hey, Krissa.
Yeah.
What? I think we're gonna have to go into our Q&A, unfortunately.
Okay. Sorry
which,
about that.
Live demo. So
It is a
applause
live
for
demo.
the risks because you did take them. And we appreciate that. So let's give her some good Q&A, guys.
I'll work on this.
Maybe a copy and paste.
Yeah. Yes, it is HIPAA compliant. How much is it? So the app is free, and I'll just continue setting it up while I talk, for patients, and we actually sell it to hospitals. So we're selling the blockchain to healthcare organizations. And that can range, it depends on the number of patient beds or patients that they actually service within the hospital. So as you know, like EMRs can range anywhere from like $5 to $10 million for an installation. And we're basically cutting costs by, providing them the security infrastructure with the blockchain, which can range anywhere from like $500,000 to $1 million. Yes. Oh, do you have an integration with Cerner? We do have integrations with Cerner. Who carries the burden on the integration? To their EMRs? Yes, so our blockchain is integrated with the hospital's EMR system. So his question was, how do we work with GDPR, the EU regulation for data protection? So that's what our current lawyers are working on now, because everyone has to be GDPR compliant by, I think the date is like May 15th of this year or something like that. So lucky for us in the US, a lot of the policies and procedures mirror like HIPAA compliance that we see in the healthcare. So we're basically, built in within those constraints for GDPR compliance. And with blockchain, it's also good for that because essentially the patient is the only one who carries their private key in the wallet and has access to that data until they give it or share it with someone. Any other questions? I have 1 minute. So it's a little over 2 years. How long have I been working on this technology? So a little over 2 years. His question is, do we already have partners in terms of providers that are able to send us this information? Yes, we do. We have partners and providers, but currently confidential until we actually meet certain milestones that we can disclose to the public. His question is, can you give the number of subscribers or patients? Sorry, we can talk after. Currently can't.
Hey,
Thank you for bearing
thank you,
with me.
Krissa. There's definitely something to be said for having an app that's super secure, which it clearly is, so I do appreciate that. All right, so our next volunteer in between here is Full Chair Digital. Lawrence?
Hey. All right. I'm going to start with a question, but it's rhetorical, so don't worry about it. So if your marketing website was an actual human employee for your website or for your business, how would you define the success of that employee? So I've asked a lot of people that question over the years, and I've gotten two answers of the same answer, basically. One is, how well does it present content about our business to our potential customers? And two, how well does it present data about our potential customers to our business? So to answer that second question, a lot of people use a lot of very powerful software to get that, and some of that software is very technical focused, and it costs a lot of money. So me, I'm not a very technical person, and I don't have a lot of money. So I've spent the last 3 years actually teaching and working with startups in the Atlanta area, like Techstars, to help them with their digital marketing presence, and specifically teaching Google Analytics in a live workshop at General Assembly across the country. So after doing that for 3 years, I'm about ready to share what I've learned. And so I built an online course to kind of share that with you, and where a lot of online courses focus on selling the software or using a lot of long lectures, I'm focused on getting you a working, usable dashboard using Google Analytics free software. So if you want to learn how to do that, my email's on the back. It's Lawrence@FullShare Digital. I'll be done with it in the next 2 weeks here, so I'm looking for people to test it. So I'll give you guys a two-week free trial. You can test it out, tell me if it sucks or not. Thanks.
All right, our third presenter, Cloud Gnosis.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Fantastic crowd. So we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, cloud security. Cloud is top of the mind today, everywhere. Wherever you're working, every organization is going through a massive transformation today in the cloud arena, especially including around security as well. And there's so many folks struggling around that. So I'm going to talk about our company. We're solving this case of improving security and compliance for the cloud and making it reasonably simple and also affordable. So with that, again, my name is Amit Khan, and I'm one of the founders of the company. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit about our company. So we have a SaaS platform that's out the door. We've been in stealth mode for about 2 years or so, and we just came out of the stealth mode with our product 4 months ago. And you guys can actually go up and sign on and basically create an account and actually run some tests. Just a quick question for the audience. How many of you out here are using cloud services from Amazon, Google, and Microsoft? Oh, Lord, everybody and everybody. Okay, so I see almost 40% hands. So this is great. Each one of you are absolutely, you can benefit from this capability. So let's actually talk about the big picture, okay? Gartner is saying that 95% of all public cloud security failures will be due to customers' fault. Now just think about that for a second, okay? It's going to be our fault, your fault, for misconfiguring the cloud. Now you should be asking two questions here. That is it really true? 95% is a horrendous large number, and is it really my fault? The answer is absolutely true. If you look at the last 6 months of high-profile cases of security breach, it's going to be in all these large companies that we have tabulated here, and all of them around AWS and all of them around configurations. So that's where the bulk of all the hacks are taking place today right now. Configurations and changes to your configurations and infrastructure specific in terms of all the API services and microservices that you guys are using today in your apps. So if you have a mobile app and you're putting data into the Amazon, in the S3 bucket and so on, again, many of them get left open. And so there's all these hacks that are happening around that. So the question you should be asking that, hey, these are great companies, why they haven't solved this? I mean, they got like hundreds of folks in security in these big brands. The question is that these guys are doing it manually, and the tools haven't caught up yet. So all the big boys out there are trying to solve this problem. We started literally almost, I would say, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and really worked on it pretty hard with the standard bodies out there. And so we got the platform out the door. Net, you can't do this manually anymore. You have to have automation to be able to secure your cloud, and you have to have monitoring service turned on to scan your entire global infrastructure, read all the machine data, and analyze against all the best practices to see, are there any security holes? Are there any vulnerabilities exist in your infrastructure? This is what we do out of the box. This is a little bit technical slide, but you must be asking, well, what are some of these configurations you're talking about, Amit? Well, what I'm talking about is things like misconfigurations around your identity and access management, where things get left open, changes to your ports, things are left open on the port side, simple stuff like multi-factor authentication is not turned on for the root, right? All these things add up, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of these configurations. So we can't really do this manually anymore, right? So we have to have some automation and some machine understanding to be able to leverage all that. So this is what we do. We grab all the best practices from all the cloud providers. We grab all the standard bodies that are out there, like Center for Internet Security. They have published 45 security controls as a baseline for Amazon. And there's also a tier 3 web architecture. There's almost another 80 of these security controls. So we have coded all that into our platform, including all the PCI and HIPAA, and you met the gal here that talked about the HIPAA compliance. Very good, very secure platform. So all of those we have added to our library and have that available. And of course, we also watch for the latest hacks, and we add that in. So I'm going to walk you through in our platform. Talk is cheap in our business, right? We got to have this product out the door, and we got to have some traction. I'm going to show you the security and compliance and cost capabilities in our platform coming up next. So I'm going to drive and show you all at the same time. Okay, come on up. Okay, so when you log in, we're going to ask you to connect, allow us to connect into your platform. And so once you put your credentials in, we scan all of the availability zones in Amazon and Azure and Google and give you a chart like this. We tell you where the issues are from a geomap standpoint. We actually categorize all the risk by identities, by looking at your monitoring and log and so on. And then from that, we drill further into compliance. So not only we're showing you all of the security issues, we're also mapping into business terms, into regulatory compliance like GDPR, someone asked. So we show you all that. And just to kind of really in live, how does it really run quickly? Let me just go ahead and do a manual scan, or a live scan, really, not a manual scan. So this is all of our library of all of our security codes, all of the security controls, and they're mapped to different regulations. And I'm going to hit their start button. Start. Okay. So while it's running, it takes about 45 seconds, which I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up one of the scans that I just did a few hours ago or something. So the last one was on a few seconds ago. It actually finished. So it looks something like this. This is the end game that you want to get to. You want to look at all the high critical risks, okay, and what these risks are about. So let's take the very first one, just high level. Ensure access keys are rotated every 90 days. This is one of the requirements for PCI, okay? This is one of the best practices. And you want to see, okay, well, who did not rotate their keys? Well, the root.
We are going to have to go into Q&A.
All right, that's it. So jump to the Q&A. So this is it. I'll open the floor for questions. Yes, question number 1. That's one of the 150 security controls, yes. Sorry, repeat the question. Question is, are you scanning your ports for the AWS system? And the answer is yes, that's one of the security controls that we scan for. Okay, so the question is around how do you go around cloud vendors that they'll tell you that you can't scan ports and let you get pre-authorization. So we are a technology partner of Amazon that gives us a certain amount of trust factor, okay, and we go through the certification program. So that allows us, with your ability to give us the access as well as part of the IAM process in there. Yep, good question. We have auto scaling turned on.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, sorry. The question is, I've done this for the first time. Okay, the question is that how scalable is your platform and how do you do that? So first of all, we divide the traffic into multiple servers, and we also have a technology called auto scaling turned on. Most of you probably know about that. So based on the performance of the servers, it'll add more CPUs in the back to take the load. We are 100% on AWS. The question is, are you on AWS? We are. You need to sit in 5 places so I can see you. Next.
So one of the features you
Okay, so the question is, how do you track that the API access is unauthorized, right? Now that's what a smart guy comes in from India and keyboard stuff. You know, a white guy like me can't answer that question, but I'll answer it anyway. So, okay, so the question. Sorry about that, guys. I just have to do this once in a while. Okay, so the way this happens is that we are looking at all the traffic normally that you take in, and we're also looking at your what is called log files, so CloudTrail, it's a technical word, which tracks each and every transaction of APIs. We look at that, we look at the authorization of IAM, and based on those two and other parameters, and again, our smart guys can explain in more detail, but that's kind of general triangulation. That's how we look at it. Question? What made me pursue this? Well, I was just sitting and horsing around, and I had 3 nonprofits that I just did, and do all the do-gooder stuff. I need more money for my nonprofits, so I said, got to make money either in ICOs or cloud security. So I took cloud security. Seriously, I'm dead serious. You can talk about my nonprofits afterwards. Next, one more question, last question. Very good question. What's the cost, and do you do dedicated platform? Answer is yes, we can do private AMIs. The clients, dedicated hardware, yes, we can. We can give you behind the firewall solution. And the second question was on the cost, is about roughly volume-wise is about $100 per account per AWS, and we could do $50 or $40 for startups. Thank you guys for your attention. Appreciate it. All right.
All are some enthusiastic presenters tonight. All right. Okay, fantastic. Our volunteer in between is Obina with Turns of Phrase.
Okay. All right, hello. So, what's your story? Well, here's mine. Writing is my superpower. It's a skill I learned over the years, whether writing scholarship essays, editing websites, or tutoring students. This is the origin of Turns of Phrase. I've told stories for Startup Atlanta, helping them to grow their email list by 120%, and the story of Rise Ventures through blogging, PR, and LinkedIn. As a result, they've developed relationships with investors such as Sig Mosley, BlackRock Investors, and Michael Ross. I'd love to do the same for you. If you're interested in learning about how to use content to build your business, I'll be here, and I would love to say hello. Thank you.
Do you guys need 2 mics? No. All right. Our fourth presenter tonight, SeatCheck.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shazeen, and this is my husband, Nick, and we are the creators and co-founders of SeatCheck app. Let's look at a video to start the presentation. Yay.
At the park, John sits alone. At the movies, John sits alone. At the game, John sits alone. But at the restaurant, John never sits alone. SeatCheck. Seat, eat, meet.
So since my husband doesn't cook, we eat out about 3 to 4 times a week. Every time we go out, we had to wait in line for about 30 to 45 minutes to grab a table. So we thought that there has to be a solution out there. So we started researching for one, and to our surprise, we did not.
Things that I don't even know what they are. And then you get this great quote, right? $10,000, awesome. Well, this customer only wanted to spend $5,000. So this is kind of a typical landscaping experience, and it really just leaves the consumer feeling like they're getting ripped off, or feeling like, oh man, this isn't as fun as I thought it was gonna be. I saw a really cool yard on Pinterest, and this is not that. So what we're rolling out, or what we rolled out, I should say, in September is $99 designs. So you get a customized design in 3 to 5 business days, and it's all online. I got to get into the demo here. I'm running short on time. All right, so meet Jared, a recent Fred customer. He purchased a home in Grant Park in 2016. He has a small backyard. It was mostly mud, weeds, and he had a budget of $10,000, which a lot of people are like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Well, in landscaping, you can barely get somebody to look at you for that much money. So Jared went to our site. He said, I'm going to start my project. He found us on Nextdoor. He submitted some information about what he wanted to do in his yard. He submitted pictures. You can see the mud. He had a little bit of weeds. He had some drainage issues. And one of his main things was he always said is, every time my dog goes outside to go to the bathroom, I got to wipe its paws off. And I was like, oh, that stinks. So we paired him with this designer, Michael. And Michael has experience in the in-town neighborhoods, small backyards, trying to be creative with spaces. And together they came up with this design. So what it is I'm really going to focus on just like a couple of these areas. I mean, obviously the design is better. It's in color. It's easier to visualize. It gives you a better idea of like where things are at and what it's going to look like. We've got the plant and feature guide, which is obviously color drawing or color pictures of everything that's going in the yard, whether it's, what's a fatsia? Well, that's what it looks like. And then the last thing, and really I think the best thing about this is all of our pricing is fully fractional. So instead of getting that fixed figure of $10,000, we've got everything broken out by what we call like mini projects, or we haven't really come up with a cool name for it yet. But what it allows you to do is mix and match what you're getting. So in this particular example, Jared, he decided to go with a stamped and stained concrete patio as well as a few of the other things. And eventually he got to everything he wanted for $900 less than he really wanted to spend. So obviously that's great and all, but it's got to get installed. At this point, he decided to go forward with the installation, and what we do is we manage and we coordinate all of the installation. So we've got a subcontractor network of partners that we work with. They've all been vetted, they're all licensed and insured, and we made sure that they got it done to a timely manner, made sure that it was a quality installation. We do a huge inspection at the end, make sure that the customer is happy. So Jared pays us, 2 to 3 weeks later, his yard looks like this. So pretty awesome. If you remember before, this was Jared's yard. Now this is Jared's yard. I was like, oh, Jared's here? Oh my gosh. So slate chip to get rid of the mud, retaining wall to get rid of the drainage problems, cool plants all around, nice Japanese maple, a fountain to kind of drown out the urban noise, and Jared is very happy. So if you're interested, $99, go to fredlawn.com and we'll get you or your family or your friends taken care of. All right, I got to repeat the question. So after you ask a question, say repeat the question so I don't forget it. If there are any questions. Yep. Subcontractors. Oh. I was really hoping to nail that. Are the designers employees? No, they're not. They're subcontractors. He said, is our model that we take a percentage from the subcontractors plus a lead gen fee. That's exactly our model. We've worked with the subcontractors. We've negotiated down their rates so that the customers actually pay fair market value. It's not a premium service. You're not going to pay more by using Fred. Really, all that you pay us is $99, and then we really make our margins off of the subcontractors who take these basically at a discount because we've done all the sales and the marketing, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered for them. Question? Correct. She asked, the question was, can I negotiate our rates? No, our rates are fixed, and that's because the landscapers are already taking these projects at a discount, and our margins are fixed in those. Do we make sure the contractors have insurance? Yes, all the contractors are licensed and insured, and we do the vetting up front. Thank you very much. What are our current geographical restraints? We are just in the Atlanta metro area, which is pretty much all in town as well as outside the perimeter within reason. It's basically, can I get there if something goes wrong? Do we handle HOAs? We have not handled an HOA yet, but if you are HOA president, let me know. He asked about working on pricing to get it lower and working with a designer. The way that you would get a lower price, for example, on this example, is we offered like a lower option on the patio. So if you would have gone with that slate trail mix, which is more like a pea gravel patio, he could have shaved $1,300 off there. And really all our pricing is done at fair market value, so there's really no way to negotiate down the pricing. But there are ways for us, for example, this boulder retaining wall, we ended up doing landscaping timbers, and so the final price was only about $8,800 actually. Probably should have put that, but not enough time. You asked a good question before. And he asked why you didn't say repeat the question. He asked why residential, not commercial. We've done actually commercial projects. We just started in residential because it's a little bit easier. There's more projects. It's probably easier to win. But we've had some interest from small commercial businesses, and so we're starting to get into that area. A lot of questions here. Somebody just yelled one. I can't choose. What's our marketing strategy? I looked at my wife because she's like in marketing, and I get yelled at every day for not doing any marketing. Our primary marketing strategy to date has been next door, telling people, and we're currently working on that. It's proprietary. Last slide. Does our customer have the option to take our design and disappear? Yes, absolutely. We're really not concerned about that, although I'm sure we'll get burnt eventually and be like, oh man, that stinks. But we've just found that if you get that far in the process, if you're coming to us, it's because you know that we are out looking for the best customer experience possible, and you're not going to get it really elsewhere. A lot of our customers do take it and get additional quotes elsewhere, and they come back and say, oh, your pricing was really close. And I say, well, that's what I told you. So it's obviously a risk and a concern, and maybe down the road that's something we look at more, but for now we're just kind of running with it. Did we create the design and quoting software? That's somewhat proprietary. Yeah, that's all internally created. All the way in the back. Oh, same question. Who's Fred? All right, I've been waiting on this one, jeez. Who is Fred? All right, come on. Who's Fred? See, yeah. Fred Law Olmsted. He is the father of landscape architecture. He designed Central Park, the Biltmore Estate. His sons designed Piedmont Park and Grant Park. And that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Allie.
Nicely done. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. If you saw any of the volunteers who were super interesting to you, and I hope so, because there were some really awesome ones in there, you can catch them at the back. Their information is on the back wall. The presenters will be up here for a little while after, so please come chat with them as well. And if you want to volunteer or present, catch me or catch Hilton with ATV. Thanks, y'all, for coming out.